So I love almost everything about this Lowrider ST, but there is one thing that I've hated about this bike, and it's been kind of more of an annoyance than anything because it's not practical, the way it's set up. And I had the same issue on my Sportster, so I think it's just a stock Harley bike thing, but that is the mirrors. These stock mirrors, you really can't see anything out of when I'm on the bike, and even if I try and set it a certain way, really, most of the time I'm just seeing my shoulder and I have to really lean over the bike to, see what's behind me or in my blind spots. So this has been like one of the things that's been really annoying on both the bikes that I've owned from Harley, and I think it's just a Harley thing. But I've been doing a lot of research on what mirrors that I want to change it to. I don't want to spend a lot of money because they are just simple mirrors. So I've been eyeing the long stem mirrors from Harley Davidson, which you'll see here that I finally found. These things have been hard to come by. They're out of stock all the time at the dealerships around me and then on their website. But I saw them pop up, so I figured, hey, I would try them. They're about 49 to 50 bucks a piece. So not the cheapest things, but also not the most expensive on Harleys. So I'm going to install these to see if they are any better than the stock mirrors and allow you to see more. So let's jump into it. Before we get these mirrors changed out, I just want to show you kind of what I'm talking about from the first person view here. But again, when I'm just looking in my mirror, this is kind of what I see as my shoulder. And what I'm typically wanting to see is behind my shoulder. And so then I got to lean over even more or kind of do some funky moving around to see it. And same thing on this other side is when I'm trying to look in, then I just kind of see my body. And really a simple fix would just be extending these. So I'm going to throw on these extended mirrors to see if they are going to make a difference. And it's super easy to actually put on. There's just a 1/2 inch nut right here that you have to unscrew and then slide in the new ones. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I'm also wanting to see if the longer stems will help keep them from hitting the clear view windshield here. So as you can see, it kind of hits it when the handlebars are turned all the way. Not an issue when I'm riding, but obviously when I park the bike and turn the handlebars, it kind of hits it right there. So see if the longer stem ones will fix that issue. So I just have a 1/2 inch socket that I'm going to use. Just be careful when taking this off because there is a washer on here as well. So you can see the washer there. So just make sure you don't lose that. Although the new ones do come with the same hardware. So in case you do lose these or these are messed up, the new mirrors do come with new hardware. And I just want to do a side-by-side comparison so you can see the difference in the length here. So we'll match kind of these stems up, and so you can see it comes out quite a bit. I would say probably about 3 inches maybe, and this is angled down a little bit more, so that's where I'm hoping it will fix that from hitting the clear view windshield. Before I tighten these too much, I just want to kind of adjust them and make sure that where they're at is going to work. All right, so this is how they look on the bike now with these extensions. Not like a drastic difference or anything, so they're not going to like look goofy like some of those bikes that you see, but just enough of a difference to hopefully make these a little more usable. And you'll see that I did get it to where the mirror actually does not touch the clear view windshield anymore. Alright, so I've been driving around testing these mirrors out for a little bit, and they do make a difference, I will tell you that. I actually had to go find some traffic just to see how these worked, and I got a guy back there in my blind spot and I can see him just fine. Normally I'd either have to like really lean over, like I said, to see over my shoulder, or just kind of position my body a little funnier. Whereas this, I don't even have to move. I just move my head over to look in the mirror and I can see definitely who's behind me and in my blind spot, which is nice. Now, whereas I don't see my shoulder anymore, I do see a little bit of my forearm, but it's not a huge difference. It's not blocking as much of the view as my shoulder was. And same thing with this left one over here. I don't know how it's going to pick up on camera since you're slightly lower than my eye level, but definitely a big difference with these Harley Davidson long stem mirrors. I don't know why they don't just include these on all their bikes, because the regular stock ones are definitely not long enough to use as intended. And I don't mind the look of these mirrors. They are just the same as the stock mirrors, and they're just like this little teardrop. But some of the other mirrors I was looking at that did have, you know, more length to them, but the mirrors were smaller, and I'm like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose. I still want, you know, a decent sized mirror so I can see what's behind me. I know my blind spots, and I feel like the smaller mirrors would just take away from that. So that's why I really wanted to try these ones, and so far I am happy with these. They do definitely make a difference. Like right now, all I have to do is turn my head. I can see the guy back there in my blind spot and the guy behind me, which was not the case. My shoulder would be blocking that minivan that was behind me, so I would have no idea who's behind me unless I really leaned over and looked that way. So again, clearly see the guy in my blind spot to my right. No issues there. Again, there's a little bit, if I look just right, or depending on how I have my arm, I get a little bit of my forearm in the field of view, but it's not enough to block that car behind me that's behind me right now. I can still clearly see him. And same thing on the left side as well. So if you are in the market for some different mirrors, because obviously the stock ones on Harley models are not great, definitely check these out. I know they are hard to find in stock. I just happened to show up at the right time when my dealership had one pair in stock. I do believe as of making this video on Harley's website, they are back ordered, but you can order them. And you know, I think it's worth the wait. You know, I've wanted these on my Sportster, honestly, but ended up trading that bike in before I got too far with mods. And I've been wanting those for this bike, which I finally did. So just wait. Like I said, they're not that expensive. They're about 49, 50 bucks a piece, compared to the other ones I was looking at were some Karaoke ones, but those were $152 for the pair. And I wasn't the biggest fan of the way that those looked anyway, but they seem to be the longest ones on RevZilla's website. So no complaints with these ones. They definitely allow you to see what you need to see. Again, my shoulder is not in the way, and I think that'll definitely help when I have the wife on the back as well. So if you guys are looking for some new longer mirrors, I would definitely try out the Harley Davidson long stem mirrors. If you guys like this content, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button so you can be notified when I come out with more videos on this lowrider ST.